Former WWE Women's World Champion Becky Lynch is now officially a free agent after her WWE contract expired last night. AJ Styles used the fake retirement ruse inspired by Mark Henry last night on SmackDown and attacked undisputed WWE Champion Cody Rhodes. The former Gorillas of Destiny made their WWE in-ring tag team debut last night. More details on the exits behind the scenes in TNA Wrestling. WWE President Nick Khan was spotted at a Japanese Joshi show in Los Angeles last weekend. The former Cameron Grimes blast Gable Steveson following his signing with an NFL team. Tony Khan reportedly bought significantly extra pay-per-view time for Double or Nothing months ago, and an update on Jensen after speculation he is set to depart WWE. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's start off talking about Becky Lynch because for the first time in over a decade, the man is a free agent. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Becky Lynch is now officially a free agent. As of midnight last night, Becky Lynch's WWE contract has expired and she is now a free agent for the first time in 11 years. Lynch had re-signed with the company back in 2021 and saw out her contract and was largely wrapped up on WWE television last week as she lost the Women's World Championship to Liv Morgan at the King and Queen of the Ring PLE and also the subsequent rematch in the main event of Monday Night Raw. Now, Fightful have been told that WWE seemed aware that Lynch would look to take time off even before she won the world title, but felt like it was a better approach for the story for her to win the title. There was no concern that Becky would, quote, do business. Now, those that Fightful spoke to claim there was no agreement or deal reached at the 11th hour, but that WWE has communicated their desire to continue working with Lynch. WWE and those close to Becky aren't expecting her to go elsewhere as things stand right now, but are expecting major offers to come her way. Industry sources have long expected her to get the largest contract offers of any woman in professional wrestling history. Now, WWE sources that Fightful spoke to said that Lynch has been, quote, class to deal with and had communicated to them she was taking time off. Lynch hasn't been a free agent, as I mentioned, in over a decade since 2013 and hasn't been an active free agent since about 2006 because she'd left the business before signing with WWE. So now that Lynch is officially a free agent, again, the expectation is she's going to be taking some time off. But what do you think happens when it comes to the future of the former Women's World Champion? Do you think it's a case of Becky Lynch, again, taking time off and then going back to WWE? Do you think it's a case of her possibly doing dates elsewhere? Do you think she transitions into Hollywood? What do you think happens next for the man in her career? Now, AJ Styles, he used the ruse made famous by the world's strongest man, Mark Henry, last night on SmackDown. Dressed to the nines in a powder blue suit, AJ Styles met with SmackDown general manager Nick Aldis early on last night's episode of SmackDown, saying he'd like to address his future, seemingly sure of a decision that he had made that he'd ultimately announce in the main event segment. With the heavy tease of retirement in the air, that suit very well could have been Mark Henry-esque salmon pink, as it was all a ruse to attack WWE Champion Cody Rhodes, likely setting up their return engagement from Backlash before too long. After interacting with the likes of LA Knight and Cody Rhodes, whispering something into the ear of the WWE Champion, Styles came across his OC confidants, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, saying they'd been with him all over the world, that he couldn't do this without them, and asking them to accompany him to the ring. The phenomenal one, T staying home and being a phenomenal dad with his oldest son having just graduated high school before calling Rhodes out to the ring to say that SmackDown was still the house that AJ Styles built, but that it was time for him to hand Cody the keys. From there, Rhodes thanked Styles on behalf of the locker room, shook his hand and joined him to salute the crowd all around the ring. But the feel-good moment ended swiftly when Styles clotheslined Rhodes, beat him down in the ring, threw him to the outside, bounced his head off the ring post, and then finished him off with a Styles clash off of the ring steps, all while Gallows and Anderson laughed in the background. With Clash at the Castle a shade over 2 weeks away, perhaps Styles would have done enough last night alone to incense Rhodes into a rematch for the WWE Championship in Scotland. What did you make of this segment? What do you make of the idea of Rhodes facing off against Styles once again in the future? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Now, speaking of the OC, speaking of the Bullet Club, I guess this transitions into the Bloodline, because last night we saw the tag team debut of the former IWGP Tag Team Champions, the Gorillas of Destiny. Weeks after making their on-camera WWE debuts and aligning with the Bloodline, Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa finally made their in-ring debut as a tag team on Friday SmackDown. Tonga tagged with Sikoa at Backlash in France, defeating Kevin Owens and Randy Orton in a street fight, and then wrestled 3 matches in the 2024 King of the Ring tournament, defeating Angelo Dawkins and LA Knight before coming up short against Randy Orton in the semi-final. Friday night was Loa's first time competing in a WWE match under this name. Of course, he was formerly Camacho in WWE. The brothers' WWE debut as a duo came following a segment in which the wise man Paul Heyman attempted to appeal to Kevin Owens and convince him not to take on the Bloodline. When Owens refused, Heyman became irate, gesturing wildly and accidentally making contact with Owens. Before the eternally angry Owens could get his hands on Heyman, however, the Bloodline appeared. Luckily for KO, the Street Profits came to his aid. Owens took care of Sikoa as they fought into the crowd. That left Tonga and Loa to face the multi-time tag team champions, and they ended up pulling out the victory. Not a huge surprise when you recall, as Corey Graves did on commentary, they are multi-time tag team champions themselves. Formerly known as the Gorillas of Destiny, Tonga and Loa were members of the Bullet Club in New Japan Pro Wrestling from 2016 to 2022. During their time in Japan, they were IWGP Tag Team Champions together 7 times and still hold the record for the most tag title reigns in New Japan history. Their 3rd place in combined days as champions. They also won the World Tag League in 2020 and are former Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions as well. Now, let's switch gears here and talk about TNA Wrestling, because it's been a bit of a big week for TNA. Of course, the crossover with WWE, Jordan Grace appearing on NXT, more crossovers expected in the future, but also behind the scenes too. Now, there's been a bit of a shake-up at TNA Wrestling, and Fightful Select has learned more about it. Fightful has confirmed that 3 employees were let go, confirming PW Insider's report that longtime producer David Sahari was let go. Fightful have been told he would be replaced. In addition, Fightful has confirmed that Lou D'Angeli was let go. Now, D'Angeli was known as Lou E. Dangerously in ECW and had served as the VP of Marketing at Anthem Sports Group with TNA. He was also credited as being a primary reason why CM Punk was around TNA so much in recent years, visiting backstage. A 3rd departure was said to be in a similar department and wouldn't be a name that was known by many in wrestling. However, their departures were said to be Anthem wanting to go in a new direction and get more effective in live event markets. Another departure was R.D. Evans, who actually left on his own volition. Now, Evans, he actually does have a bit of wrestling lore here, because his WWE departure certainly lives, as I mentioned, in wrestling lore, as word had it that after Vince McMahon screamed at him, he said, quote, "I hope you learned something today," to Vince, and just walked out and never came back. Now, Fightful Sean Ross Sapp is told that an email went around thanking Evans and mentioning that he had given his notice. Now, the early report elsewhere indicated that there were no events announced after early August, but Fightful say they've confirmed that a late August set of tapings has been actually booked in as well. Now, speaking of behind the scenes and executives, Nick Khan, we've spoken about this crossover between WWE and TNA Wrestling. We could possibly see some more relationships between WWE and other promotions. We know Marigold have a working relationship with WWE, but what about another Japanese Joshi promotion? Now, independent Joshi wrestling promotion Sukiban took over Los Angeles with a high-profile event Thursday night, with several big names spotted at the show, from Renee Paquette on commentary to Sawati on camera. And according to PW Insider, 2 very interesting names are reported to have been in attendance. One being WWE President Nick Khan and IWGP World Heavyweight Champion Jon Moxley, who is also one of the biggest stars in AEW. Now, while no photo or video evidence of his presence has been released as of this recording, several event-goers reported seeing Khan on a balcony overlooking the event. This is not Khan's first dip into the pool of independent circuit events. He attended Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 10 event over WrestleMania weekend and was even photographed with Game Changer Wrestling owner Brett Lauderdale. Whether Khan was at the event in a business capacity for WWE or just simply to enjoy another wrestling promotion, it's currently unclear. Interestingly, Barnett was also in attendance at the same event. Moxley also decided to stay back in California after this week's Los Angeles-based AEW Dynamite episode on TBS. There have been no reports, nor photo or video evidence of the IWGP World Heavyweight Champion, nor any additional details as to the nature of his attendance. As I mentioned, Paquette, Moxley's wife, was on commentary for the event, so he could just be there with her. As of this recording, there is no information as to whether Khan or Moxley interacted at the event at all. It seems that there was just a lot of high-profile people at this event. So if we get any more details on that, of course, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, Gable Steveson still stays in the headlines even after his WWE departure, this time for his move after WWE. Now, there was news yesterday that former Olympic wrestler and WWE hopeful Gable Steveson has signed with the National Football League, and it created some confusion on Friday. Steveson, who was released from WWE earlier this month, has never played football before in his life. ESPN reported that his Buffalo Bills workout was the first time that he'd ever put on a pair of cleats, and many wondered what position the Bills could possibly want him to play. Now, shortly after the news broke, another recently released WWE star, Trevor Lee, formerly known as Cameron Grimes, provided his opinion, and he didn't mince his words. Now, the question was put on social media, what position is he playing? And Cameron Grimes said the following, quote, "Whichever one requires the least amount of work and has other people make him look good, I'm assuming. Wait, wrong sport." Now, while harsh, Lee's comment does seem to confirm what Dave Meltzer reported on the Wrestling Observer radio show after Steveson's release, which was that Steveson wasn't cutting it in WWE. Meltzer specifically called out Steveson's lack of charisma in a pair of dark matches with Cameron Grimes, which took place before a pair of January episodes of SmackDown. Those contests ended up being 2 of the final 3 matches in Steveson's WWE career. He wrestled 17 matches total, with only the first one, a double countout draw against Baron Corbin, at the NXT Great American Bash in July 2023, being televised. That was also the only WWE match Steveson wasn't booked to win. His final match was another pre-SmackDown Dark match in February, this time against Cedric Alexander. It had been reported as well that there was a lack of aptitude and, again, a lack of work rate from Steveson. So what do you make of the news that now he could be in the NFL? Do you think that one works out? Or, a bit like in WWE, do you think he ends up getting cut? Now, Tony Khan and Double or Nothing, he made sure that he had all bases covered, did the AEW president. Now, many people, including actual AEW commentator Jim Ross, believe AEW's pay-per-views are too long. The events regularly clock in at around 4 hours in length, sometimes even longer, which with each having an event that has a 90-minute pre-show that airs on social media and YouTube beforehand, totaling around 5.5 hours. However, AEW Double or Nothing ran for 4.5 hours, rising to 6 hours with the pre-show factored into the equation. Now, while it seems that AEW President Tony Khan will try and pack as many matches onto one card as possible at times, the extra length of the Double or Nothing 2024 event was a strategy Khan had in mind for a while. According to Dave Meltzer in the Wrestling Observer newsletter, Khan purchased an extra 30 minutes worth of time months in advance in case the pay-per-view ended up going head-to-head with a major NBA game, which ended up happening for the 2022 edition of the show. The reasoning for this plan was that the top 3 matches on the card would be able to air after the NBA game was over, meaning that fans who wanted to watch both could still catch the most important parts of Double or Nothing live without the matches being rushed due to time constraints. This was the reason for the triple main event of Willow Nightingale versus Mercedes Moné, Swerve Strickland versus Christian Cage, and Anarchy in the Arena 3 closing the show. Ironically, the NBA competition didn't end up being much of an issue, as Khan might have first feared. However, the structure and length of the pay-per-view was the plan all along. And finally, a bit of an update on Brooks Jensen. There's been some chatter around his future in WWE, with it being speculated he could be set to leave the promotion. But according to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select, Brooks Jensen isn't going anywhere, at least for the time being. Now, earlier this week, Brooks posted a booking email on his social media and insinuated on his platform on X that he was no longer with WWE. In asking Brooks himself, Fightful Select's Corey Brennan was told to ask higher-ups. Initially, in asking around, Brennan was met with uncertainty around Brooks' behavior, including from other NXT talents. On May 31st, an NXT live event in Tampa, Brooks would appear, taking a seat at ringside that had previously been occupied, branding a "Brett would book this better" sign. Upon being confronted by security, he would throw the sign and protest before ultimately being escorted out of the venue. In asking further in NXT, Brennan was told by a source close to the creative process that Brooks' social media posts have been storyline and that Brooks has been present at several tapings in recent weeks, including sneaking into the crowd for a Level Up taping as previously highlighted on social media. Fightful have also been told to expect the story to become part of NXT programming soon and was compared to Grayson Waller's previous storyline with Shawn Michaels in an authority role. One WWE talent had noted to Brennan their hopes that Brooks' attitude was linked to a storyline, noting that Brooks is one of the most hardworking talent they had come across in the industry. But there you go, guys. The latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe bottom right hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below and I'll speak to you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.